Yeah, deliberately. We decided to give you a snapshot of what the details will be in sports when Benedict Dosu comes in. You saw that player sliding there was Hudson Odoi of Chelsea, but that'll be for later because it's also one of the news surrounding coronavirus. So how are you? And it's not been good over the last 6 hours.
No, not. And I think that it's just the fear, the news that we've recorded 2 cases is just setting people to be afraid. And I guess the message is don't panic, just to relax. And then we need more information also from these two, because the press conference by the health minister, the information minister, was on point, but we need, because we are asking a lot more questions now. People are asking, so are these Ghanaians who had traveled from these 2 countries, or are they, so do we have, you know, a Turkish citizen and a Norwegian, so that they are not Ghanaians, but they traveled into Ghana and carried the virus? And how far were the contact tracing, which is really important? Which airlines were they on, and when did they arrive exactly in the country? Because once you give us some information, you have to be ready to give us all of the information. That will be calming nerves. But I guess the news that we've recorded 2 cases in Ghana is getting people, you know, on the edge. People, yeah, exactly. And we're beginning to think about the many things that the other countries are doing. But I think we should still know that it's 2 cases that we've recorded.
Yeah.
So
just over the last 2 hours, I've been interacting with some medical people, some of them nurses, and 2 other doctor friends of mine. And I was asking them, proud to this announcement, were they taking the precautions in terms of, were they, for those who are at emergencies and then also at OPDs, were they taking the precautions of wearing the PPEs or those things? And they said they were not. Because even though we're spreading information, when somebody has fever, etc., it's almost close to what somebody who has malaria. If you have malaria immediately, you wouldn't know, but of course if you experience the symptoms and you report early, then that would be the good thing. But usually we don't report early. So by the time we go to the hospitals, we're shivering, we're in that fever state, we have headaches, the throat is not good, we have flu or cough, etc., which is very much similar to the situation of some of the symptoms. And that's the concern that these medical people expressed. Well, we don't have to spread panic, but the thing is that once the situation is not good, we also have to talk about it, so that the authorities will put in place.
Of course, absolutely. And we'll be heavy on this coronavirus because and other people, Roland, other people have talked about the fact that it was a matter of when. Because it was definitely going to happen. So we knew.
I think we all knew that, because
we knew somehow
the port of entry had not been restricted or closed. So once we have the throughput of travelers going through all the centers, the Middle East, Europe, we talked about, I talked to a virologist the other day, and we traveled to Turkey to bring in goods. Even though we have restrictions, we still go to the United Arab Emirates. Even though we don't go to China, we still go to Dubai, go and do all these. So once we have all there are people still traveling. I have a relative who has just traveled down from the UK and would be traveling back. And so it was just a matter of course. Yes, and I think now it's here with that.
But the fact also remains, we can't bring everything to a halt because of coronavirus. There must be some form of activity. But, you know, it's just the emergency. But even when you talk about the emergency response and you see countries that are way ahead of us, you know, who have stronger health facilities struggling with it, for instance, Italy, then, well, but of course we can't sit back and say because Italy is going through what they're going through, struggling, containing this virus, we can't do anything about it. So we'll have many conversations on this, and you can also get in touch and send us your messages. How are you feeling following? A lot of people also waking up this morning to the news that we've recorded 2 cases. So if you're just hearing it, what's your reaction to it? How are you protecting yourself? Maybe we should also ask how you're doing it, how you're protecting yourself. Because this morning I'm learning that it's not any kind of hand sanitizer. We say alcohol based, but it has to be a certain percentage of alcohol for it to be effective. So we'll give you a lot more so you can arm yourself. Let's do the newspapers, the Daily Graphic, the Ghanaian Times. The Finder is what I have, Roland.
And I have the rest.
Yeah. All right, let's start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Here we go with what's on the front page today. Accident vehicle imports, accident vehicle import banned. Parliament amends Customs Act 2015. But what's worrying is this one, which you would see shortly on your screen. There are 2 vehicles and the caption is endangering human lives. So it's a taxi cab with no registration number loaded with bread, and it will be very familiar when you see the picture on your screen. It's just the bread is just sitting in the cab. If we can bring out the picture very well so people can appreciate it a little close up, not sure how, but Patrick Gomez can make it happen. So it almost looks like the bread has been dumped into the taxi cab, like that, for human consumption. That's what it is. And this is, I was saying that this is familiar because we see this, don't we? I mean, I see, like, sometimes you see that people have laid maybe like a rubber or something like that and put the bread on. Even that is not healthy. But look at this one. Just dump the bread in the taxi like that.
And very often you find that now that we have a lot of these manufacturers or the startups doing this business, they have these vans, the retail vans that they have. They park at various vantage points.
Yes.
And
I see many on my stretch.
And the looks are there. So we have to be realistic.
No, but I see also when they open, you know, when they open the vehicle, I see that there's they've arranged. I think they have either some layers of I don't know. They've got, I don't know how to describe it, but they have something like a stretcher or something like that that carries the bread. I haven't taken a closer look.
Like a trolley, but it's not, or something.
Exactly. It's not just dumped in. It's like the way we've seen the taxi on the front page. This one is just dumped. Like they just put the thing in the taxi. So the paper is just highlighting on the unhygienic manner. There's also a tilted, overloaded truck.
Fantastic.
And these were captured on the Enyinim Accra Highway. These are the things that when you see, you ask yourself, the checkpoints that are on these roads. Like, what's the point if there's a police checkpoint, yet we still have these vehicles pass through the checkpoint? Then what are we doing? Are we just using the torchlight to just do that and just say, you know, like, because if they went through, and they will definitely go through one checkpoint or the other.
No, definitely.
And they just watch them
They always go through.
But this taxi actually doesn't even have a number, no registered number.
What will stop that car, that trailer, from getting to the next destination is not because it's tilted.
Exactly. It's because somebody is enforcing.
It will be something else.
Exactly. It's true. It's true. All right. Let's do this center spread of the paper. Okay. Well, let's do the back page of the paper. Ghana, anchor of security in West Africa, according to the German envoy. Government to distribute 12 million LED bulbs. All right, let's do the Ghanaian Times, and I'll come to the Finder, and then my last paper will be the Daily Statesman. So to the Ghanaian Times now, front page of the Times. Stop spreading COVID-19 fake news. That's the Ghana Tourism Authority. They've also stepped up. If you watch the AM News a while ago, then you know they've given some directives. They say they've printed some precautionary measures or steps that tourists
education materials.
Yeah, when you enter into these tourism facilities, we're now stepping up. I think after the president's message, after the WHO declared this virus as a pandemic, so it's almost as if we're waiting for it to get to pandemic mode, and then we will begin to, because now we are now beginning to do the things that I personally think we should have done way back, honestly. Because if you go to a facility and it's just signs of what you should do, animations of what you should do, those things should have been there. We shouldn't have waited for it to get to pandemic levels. Now the worry is, how do you get information to everybody else, like right now? You know, if we had started a little back, and of course, you know, I know that as media we've done well. We've done well by spreading the messages, but it's not just
I think the concern is that we have public institutions and the parastatals that needed to head these public education actions, and they haven't.
Especially when the president said we should give information, but such information must be sanctioned by the health ministry. Then
in this day and age.
Yeah, I mean, so it must be info. So it must be on point. It must be in good time. You know, people must not stretch to get the information. It must just be so easy to get it. And if you want it to come from a source that's verified, which in this case is the Ministry of Health, then we shouldn't be knocking on your doors. It should be coming like that. That's why I said that following the press conference last night, a lot of questions are coming up, and they have to be open in answering all these questions so people nerves can be calm, because people are up. Hey, they said coronavirus is in Ghana. Or, you know how that, how that could affect us as well if everybody's just panicking and being afraid. So we don't want to get there. We need more information. So the Ghana Tourism Authority absolutely doing good work, with the directives that they've given to all the facilities. But I think that even before the Tourism Authority says anything, I mean, we're all in Ghana. We're all in this world. We know what's happening. If you're a facility, you don't have to wait for any directive. You also have to take your own steps and do something, because you're dealing with human beings.
Yeah.
All right. Also on the front page of the paper, Parliament passes Customs Amendment Bill to prohibit salvage specific vehicles over 10 years. Fuel prices likely to go down next week, according to the Energy Minister. Well, the MPA boss has already given a hint that when the time comes for that adjustment to be done, because of the deregulation, we are likely to see some 15% reduction, which some people say is woefully inadequate. But, no handshake in Parliament. Speaker orders MPs. Were you going to say something about the fuel price?
You say I'm Eugene Yahi.
You want to be MPA too?
No, it's just that, the economics of it. You're not
going to talk some for us. Then please don't talk.
I'm only being
realistic. I beg, don't talk. I only read the story.
Yeah, I know, right?
So let's stay with that. Okay, let's do the Finder newspaper, front page of the Finder. 365 vehicles, 493 motorbikes for Education Directorate to enhance effective monitoring and supervision. Northern Region Chiefs laud government's innovative initiatives. Government to distribute 12 million LED bulbs worth 200 million Ghana cedis nationwide. ADB to offer more support to agribusiness entrepreneurs, according to their managing director. The last paper is the Daily Statesman for me. Kwapem North NPP delegates protest disqualification of aspirants. Big boost for education. Government procures over 1,000 vehicles, 2,000 motorbikes for education. Oh, what I'm reviewing is actually the Daily Statesman.
The Daily Statesman.
For example, for Beck's court for 10 days rests is also another headline. That's all in the Daily Statesman newspaper. Roland will start with the Daily Dispatch.
Yeah. In my mind, I was thinking we'll do everything COVID.
No, I think the news, because by the time that news conference came, the newspapers missed it.
Yeah, I know. So I wanted us to, but let me do the daily guide. Just tell you a Kesri, or have a Kesri look at what the front page of the daily guide is. And you have it on your screen soon, but I have a picture of the Vice President here in one of the vehicles. It's because the Ghana Education Service has gotten, among other institutions, 858 vehicles. Well, that's a good one. We have the Ghana Library Authority, a number of institutions as well, and the Vice President was that handing over ceremony was a good one, because these institutions need them. After the Vice President representing government has done that, then we have to talk about maintenance culture. But we also do have a picture. It says that the beautiful Becky clock 69, aging gracefully.
As the First Lady?
Yes.
She's 69?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yesterday was a birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a good one.
69?
And there was on this surprise video of that I saw on the status of the spokesperson on the economy for the Vice President, Dr. Gideon Boaku, on his status, in which the First Lady just walked me. I don't know whether her home or the office, and there was a surprise birthday party or something of the sort, just meeting her. It was beautiful.
Well, belated birthday to Auntie Becky, but it's just the 69 that's getting me to think again. Yeah. Good. I want to look like that when I'm 69.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Keep getting money and you'll be fine.
Is it money, or she just takes care of herself? I mean, it's Roland. You're all about money. Eh? You haven't seen some people with money, but who don't look as good. It's not all about money.
Right.
Yeah, living healthy is not necessarily money.
Right. Right. Okay, so then the next one is, yes, please. So I've shown you the front page of the Daily Guide. So we have the Daily Dispatch newspaper. We have former security couples assessment. We're talking about former National Security Minister and Coordinator, Mr. Francis Puku. He says, foot soldiers deserve roles in politics. True. Foot soldiers. What does it mean? Foot soldiers. Yeah. You see, after you've won the election, Mamavi, you need the expertise to be able to be placed in good authority. That's the problem I have with the political parties. Yeah, but he said foot soldiers deserve roles in politics. You know, we've had a number of discussions about how you integrate foot soldiers into whether it's national security setup, mainstream government actions and all that. Because
who are the foot soldiers? Are they a bunch of jobless people?
Foot soldiers could be myself, who is educated, somebody who is semi-educated.
Who has a job. So why do we have to give you a role in politics?
Well,
simply because we want power.
Some of them don't have jobs.
Yes.
Because we've structured our politicking in such a way that immediately a government comes to power, the appointees of the former government, who obviously are members of the political party that was in power, become jobless. So they become jobless, working for the party within the next 4-8 years.
So they're also foot soldiers?
They are the foot soldiers. I'm going to have to be realistic about it.
Okay.
Now, those who tend to have the sort of education and could move on to some other sort of roles, then move on and leave those who are not well educated or not educated at all to do the groundwork.
So how about we
we have educated people who are foot soldiers,
how about we see the whole thing about the foot soldier
soldierism
as work? Why don't we see that as work?
Then the parties need to restructure their base.
If you're taking care of your executives, people who have dedicated themselves and doing political work for you as executives, you should begin to think about it and maybe put them on a certain pay structure.
It's a whole debate.
And be a foot soldier. What do you do as a foot soldier? Do you have your work cut out?
Yes.
What exactly do you do? Is it legitimate?
It's a legitimate work.
Okay. Does it progress the party? You know, does it move the party forward? Then get them, put them on some pay whatever, and pay them every month. Because they are working for the party, aren't they?
In other democratic dispensations, they are usually volunteer actions.
But even in Ghana, National Fire Service is not we've recruited people and we're paying them. Elsewhere, people do it as volunteers. Am I right?
Very right.
Yes. So if you're a foot soldier, your work is benefiting the party appreciates it. Instead of getting you another job, that's job that you're doing. I'm just thinking, maybe I'm not as politically educated, but that's what I'm just thinking. They should begin to fix them and pay them, instead of look for other jobs for them. Let's do myjoyonline.com real quick. Let me just give you also some updates of this coronavirus. Also, in Africa now, the current really is Ghana and Gabon, because we recorded 2 cases yesterday. Tunisia also has announced 6 more cases of the coronavirus. Algeria closes schools after first virus death. Facebook and Twitter suspend West African troll accounts. So that's on another issue. But in terms of the coronavirus, Ghana and Gabon confirmed their first coronavirus cases. In terms of update, that's the very latest for us in Africa and, of course, in Ghana. myjoyonline.com now. Of course, the 2 cases of the coronavirus that's been confirmed in Ghana. Details there on myjoyonline.com. Okay. What Ghanaians are saying about the 2 confirmed coronavirus cases is also there. John Mohammed's call on Tamale chiefs and pictures. Uganda restricts travel from 16 countries, including UK and US, because of coronavirus. Republic of Ireland to close schools and colleges. Plenty more stories on the coronavirus on myjoyonline.com. On the new register, we did not breach procurement laws. EC responds to Imani. Deputy German Ambassador endorses Ghana's security leadership in West Africa. a lot more stories. So you can go to myjoyonline.com and update yourself. Well, yesterday we did the big launch of our election headquarters at the AMA City Hall. We had our colleagues in Kantamanto. Roland Walker was in Tema Station. We'll bring you what he captured. But our colleagues also on Adom and Asempa also were part of this big launch. We want to say thank you for being a part of it. But this is also one of the very latest. Justin Trudeau and wife isolate after she tests positive. Meanwhile, just 8 new cases are reported in China, 3 of them from overseas. So we see the virus is spreading to other parts of the world, but where it all started from in China, the cases are declining, and they're recording very, very few cases in these past couple of days. And, you know, some people have said because of the way China is, I mean, they can get everybody in check because they're not practicing their kind of democracy is not what we all see around necessarily. So you can get everybody, you can whip everybody in line.
Yeah, so it's a pure socialist communist state. So
so you can see Ghana making the headlines in international news as well because of.
I love the headline. It's almost like it's just a matter of when and of course. So it doesn't really indict, but yeah, we just keep the education ongoing.
Yeah. All right. So about election headquarters, so you know we're ready for the elections. All the conversations yesterday, we were very grateful to have very important people pass through. We had the market women there sharing their own expectations, talking about security and corruption. We had the political parties also representing. We had the police also coming through, the Electoral Commission coming through as well. We had civil society, we had CDD, we had IDEC also passing through. So on behalf of the crew, we're grateful to all of you who made time, who spent time with us as we launched our election headquarters. So you know, it is on. We're doing better than any other, and you can trust our sources. So all the update with this year's election, beginning with the ballot box. Next week, watch out for it. But stay with us. We'll bring you sports. We will talk about how the coronavirus is now practically just putting everything to a stop. Because we know in Arsenal, the Arsenal manager has also tested positive.
The early part of yesterday saw the training grounds and facilities of Chelsea being checked, clean, etc. By the close of the day, it was speculated that Hudson-Odoi was not well, and then subsequently.
It's fake news, isn't it?
No, it's not. That's not fake news.
Okay.
And then subsequently, it was confirmed that it looks like corona sort of. We've had a Manchester City player who is under self-quarantine, Mendy. It's also because he has a household person. I think the sister-in-law or sister, somebody like that has coronavirus positive. So he has checked himself. In Italy, Dybala was one of the best players, speculated to have been moving to Manchester United during the last transfer window. They have season window full positive. So it puts the whole Juventus team on the quarantine.
Well, we'll bring you plenty more of the headlines in detail on sports. Stay with us.